All right, everybody, we're going to get started. I'm Lynn McCartney. I'm an instructional technology consultant here at Heartland, and I just want to say thank you for coming out this morning. And you guys are early birds. Hello again. How are you? We have three wonderful presenters today, and it does span the K-12 spectrum for the first time, I think, since I've been looking for speakers to come and present and share what they do in their classroom. So we have Angela, who is going to start us off today, and she is from Des Moines, and I'm going to let her do her own introduction.
Thank you. I have this, I think.
Do?
Yeah, can you hear me okay? Okay, great. So I'm Angela Schreck. I teach French levels 1 through 3 at Des Moines East High School. And we're just going to jump in right now just so I can get to know you a little bit better. If you could please open up a tab in your browser and go to kahoot.it. This is going to be a quick survey. And so once you get to kahoot.it, you will just put in this PIN code. If you use Kahoot with your students, this is the time where you tell them to just use their first names, no emojis, no symbols. But I trust you are all professionals and I don't have to lecture you on that. So let's see. Wait for a couple more. And this is just a survey, so there's it's just obviously no right or wrong answers. There we go. Is everyone that's wanting to play in? Okay, so this will just ask you some questions, and you'll click the shape and color on your screen that corresponds with your answer. So first of all, what grade levels do you teach? All right. Oh, wow. We have a lot of mixed and other. So those of you that are mixed and other, do you mind just shouting out what your roles are?
Foreign language coordinator for Des Moines. Instructional tech coordinator for Des Moines.
Instructional tech coordinator. Anyone else? Okay. Do we have any college level? I don't know if that was one I should click. Okay, great. Next question. Nice little spread. What language do you teach? French, Spanish, German. I know there are a lot more, but you can only have 4 possible answers with Kahoot. All right, lots of Spanish. Feeling my French over there, Emily, yeah. And then others. So are these multiple languages or others, if you wouldn't mind sharing? Or we'll just move on, okay. What's the technical environment like in your school? So one-to-one tablets or tables, or computers, not tables, classroom set, a cart checkout system, or some sort of other technological system. Tablets or tables, what does that even mean? Okay, so lots of one-to-one, classroom set, and cart checkout. Okay, so that's good to know. I myself have a classroom set that I've kind of, it started out as a checkout and then it just kind of ended up in my classroom. So that's where I'm at. And then what's your average class size? Just to get an idea for some of these activities. Okay. So a nice range there. I would say mine is like 25 to 30 is 35 is my average class size. So that's good information to know. Quite a spread there as well. And then last question, how would you classify your current technology integration in your classroom? So beginning, developing, applying, or innovating. There's one more to answer. We're over another time. All right. Okay, awesome, a good spread there as well. That's great. So thanks for taking part. If you wouldn't mind going to the agenda for today, hopefully you have that either in your emails or I know the link was up here when you first got on. And then click on this link to the session resources. That will pull you up to my website, and that way you'll have the links to everything that we will be using today. Do we have the agenda to get that easily from? Yeah? Oh, perfect, yes. So if you just want to go to, it'd probably be easiest just to go to this Google shortened URL and then scroll to the bottom and click on this website right there. And since that's on your tables, I will just continue as you do that. We're going to start off with Edpuzzle today. And Edpuzzle is a really great tool that enables you to enhance existing videos for students with immediate opportunities for feedback and checks for understanding. You as the teacher receive really great reports on students' progress that is live, and then it also saves that for you so you can look at it later. It's also a really great way to integrate authentic resources in your classroom because you can pull a video from YouTube or Khan Academy or even TED Talks, and you can help make them comprehensible for students. You can also crop videos to show students only parts that what they need to see. Maybe you find this really great 30-minute video, but you only need to show them 5 minutes. Edpuzzle can help you do that. And then teaching French, which is the language of love, sometimes they're really great videos with a little part that maybe the students shouldn't see. And so Edpuzzle is a great way to cut those things out. And then this is also a great tool for flipped classrooms, subplans, or station work. So we'll do a quick example. If you are on my website, you click on this Heartland TCI, don't click on it, just scroll over it, go to Edpuzzle and click on the example. This is something I did with my French 1 students last year. It's a French person speaking in English. And then you'll see wherever all of these little question marks are, that is when there's going to be a quiz question for you. So this in your classroom, you would obviously want students to use headphones so they can work at their own pace. I'll let you get started on that so you can kind of play around, and then I'll explain kind of how to use it in your classroom and how to make it work. So once you get here, you don't need to log in. You just hit play. And I'll give you about 3 minutes. That should give you enough time to get to the first question. And once you get to this part, there will be a little quiz for you.
How to socialize and are prepared to learn how to count,
So we
write,
get there.
and read.
And now these little quiz questions are going to pop up. Students can know right away for multiple choice questions if they are right or wrong. So I'm not even going to read. I'm just going to select some random answers. Submit. Boom. It tells me as a student right away that I got 3 out of 4 right. So maybe that wasn't the best work I've ever done. So I will let you, because I know for myself, if I experience it myself as a student, it helps me understand what it's capable of. So go ahead and start that. We'll take maybe 3-4 minutes to give you to do that. Am I good? Okay. Do we have an idea of how that works? Do we see how that works? Okay, so now let's go to see what we need to do for that on the teacher side. So on the teacher side, first you would create a teacher account. I'm pretty sure I use my Google account for that, which a lot of these websites do. This is totally free, by the way, which is also really great. To create a video, you'll go in and just go to create new video. You can search right in there. I usually find my video on YouTube first and then copy the link in. There are lots of different options you can do. You can crop the video like I talked about earlier. So I just need to show this 2-minute portion. You can do that. You can record over the entire video. I know Movie Talk is a really great way to give students some comprehensible input. You could do an entire Movie Talk digitally. So if you're going to be gone for a conference or whatever, you could do a Simon the Cat video and record your whole voice over it to give students that comprehensible input. You can also add audio notes that pause the video and has you talking to explain anything. And then as you just experienced, you can integrate quizzes. And the quiz options that are available are short answer, open-ended, written comments, and then you can also provide feedback for students. Today I didn't have you log in, but when I use this with my students, I usually have them log into their account. That way they can log in next time and see any feedback I may have left them, which is a really great way to give them some immediate feedback on their learning. I always recommend watching it as a student before you assign it to a class Edpuzzle makes it kind of tricky. Once you've assigned it to a class, it's hard to go back in and edit it. So you want to kind of make sure things are looking pretty good before you assign it to a class. And then you can also assign a due date for this. So if you say students need to have this done by the end of this week, you can set that hard deadline for them. On the student side of things, if you want their progress to be saved, they need to create an Edpuzzle account. They can use Edmodo or Google to do that, and so one less password for them to remember. You can invite more students and give them the class code or a direct link. So a student makes an account, you give them a class code, and then they're in your class. Then they can go and rewatch sections. They can do all sorts of things within it. This is what the teacher dashboard looks like. So you can see I had 49% of my students complete this, 38% complete that one, and then 39% complete that one, which isn't really great, but this was one of those times last year where we started with the iPads and then I had to give them away. So we got a really good start on it, and that's why those percentages are really low. You can share these results, you can archive them, you can download them in different ways too. This is what the live results look like. So as the students are working on this, this is not something you would project, but on your screen you can see how many questions they've gotten right, if they did it on time or not, and you can even reassign it. So if someone didn't pass, if they're in this red, I can reassign it and say you need to do this before you can retake your assessment, or whatever your policy may be. You can also pull up individual student reports. So this is for a student who watched 100% of the video. She did pretty well. She got 20 out of 23, and her percentage was an 87%. And so I can look and see exactly which questions she got wrong, which is great to have a conversation with the student if they're struggling, or to congratulate them on a good job. You can also see individual question reports. So this question was comment disent redoublé en anglais. So one person put this answer, eat a delicious croissant. Thankfully, no one picked that one. That was a distractor. To learn another language or to retake a year of school. So 11 of the students that completed it from that class got it right, which gives me good feedback as a teacher. I also really like the short answer questions. I had a Edpuzzle for students about poutine, which is a really delicious Quebec food. And their last question is they had to go and click on a menu of a poutine restaurant. It's kind of like the zombie burger of poutine. They do all these crazy things with french fries and gravy and cheese. So they had to go to the menu, and then they had to tell me which poutine they would order and why. And so then that was their last question. So really opening it up from those basic identifying questions to something that's a little bit more high level. As a teacher, you can also click and leave comments for students, so you can give them specific feedback as to what they need to do. Any questions? I know that was a lot, but it's on my website. Any questions about Edpuzzle so far? For those of you that are in a one-to-one classroom, it's a really excellent subtool because the students, they can log in. You could pull it up right now and creep on them and see who's doing their work, who's not, and you get that. The students get feedback, and you get feedback right away. So it's a really great way to do lots of different things with a language or culture in your classroom. Questions so far? Okay. The next one, if you go back up here, we are going to switch to Quizlet Live. We'll go back to Formative, but I think we need to get moving a little bit. So Quizlet Live, this is a game where I had one of my neighboring teachers come in last year because she thought like there was something crazy going on because my students were so into this, like on the floor upset when they lost. So how many of you guys are familiar with Quizlet? Okay, that's kind of what I thought. Has anyone used Quizlet Live? A couple. Okay, so it is a really new, really awesome tool. It came out, I would say, last spring-ish, so it's rather new. So first, when we were talking about Quizlet, I know a lot of times we think of just using it from English to your target language. But there are lots of other ways that you can use it. Sometimes that target language to English is the best. Something that I have been doing is fill in the blank. So this is a family example. And so instead of saying like parents in French, parents in English, there's a clue in French that they have to fill in the blank for. So mothers and fathers are parents. The sons and daughters are children. And so that gives students more exposure to the language and ups the rigor of your Quizlet sets a little bit more. Another thing I've done is target language definitions. And so for time, instead of just doing time in English, just having the spelled out way and the number way. Doing a picture plus a target language description. So this is for descriptive adjectives. They have to match the description of the person to the picture. So instead of just having blonde, they have to find the girl with the long blonde hair, the long blonde wavy hair. So once again, increasing that rigor and giving them more opportunities to look at the target language. You can do target language questions and answers. I also teach an ESL class to adults at night at DMAC. And so this is a set I used for them, is asking them a question and then having an answer to really get that sense of who down for them. And then one last thing is, I know a lot of language teachers, including myself, integrate songs. And so doing fill in the blank with song lyrics is another helpful tool for my students, because then they have to look at sentence construction and things like that. So this is an example from French 3. So kind of pushing ourselves away from just that translation with Quizlet can be a really good way to increase our rigor in our classrooms. So we are going to play Quizlet Live in English. So this is one of my sets I use for my ESL class. So to get to Quizlet Live, all you do is you can pull up any Quizlet set, one that you've created or one that you find already done. So that means it's very, very little prep on the teacher side, which is always great. So what you will do as the student is in your browser, you will go to quizlet.live and then enter this join code. And then once again, it will ask for your name. For this one, I would really encourage students to really put their real name, because you're going to get up and move and work with other students. So once you get all of your students in, Quizlet, you have two options with Quizlet Live now. It can randomly assign them teams, or as a teacher, you can put them into the teams you want them to work in. This does work best with bigger devices. I have had some students use it on their phones, and it's gotten better, but sometimes the screens are just too small that it doesn't work very well. So this I would recommend for iPhones or for iPads, tablets, computers. It's also best if students can move around and sit together. So if you're in a computer lab, this is maybe not your best option. It can still work, it's just more challenging. Is there anyone still waiting to get in? I think we're at 17 for Kahoot. Okay, so what this is going to do, I will assign random teams. So this is going to put the students into teams of animal names. Okay, you will, if my set is in French, it's going to put the animal names in French. If my set's in Spanish, it's going to put the animal names in Spanish. So what you will do is you will get into your groups, which might be hard today because you don't know each other's names. And so what I have done with my students is they have to make the sound or act like the animal to get into their groups, which sometimes you get like peacock or ostrich, and so they just up like yelling like ostrich, ostrich, which is fine too. So go ahead and take your device with you and get into your groups. Thank you. An ostrich. So I hear some snakes. Okay, and sometimes in my class, depending on what we're working on, especially with French 1s when we're working on the structure like we are, I would go around and they would say like, we are the ostriches, and they have to come up with a little team cheer if you want to increase that. We're working with Kagan structures in my school right now, and so we're working on like class building and team building. But we will just go ahead. So what's going to happen? This is one of those games you just kind of have to play. You will have a definition at the top, and only one of you has the right answer on your screen. So all of your screens are going to have a different definition. But yeah, this is intense. You might want to like set your laptops down, because if you get it wrong, your team goes back to 0. Your goal is to get to 12. So to get to 12, you have to get all of them right in a row. Once I start it, you'll kind of see how it works. Here we go. You have to look at the picture for this one. So there's a picture on the top left of your screen. You're matching the description. Are we missing someone from your team? It says, uh-oh. Oh, that's awesome. And if you take a second to look at the board, you can see what you will show your students. So right now, our giraffes and our snakes are in the lead. Yes, they are. Oh, it's going to be close between giraffes and snakes. Oh, so the snakes got it. All right, so you can go ahead and go back to your seats, and I'll show you. So after you are done with that, and you can play that, like I said, with any sort of Quizlet set at all. So if you just need that basic definition, you can do that. You need to up the ante a little bit, you can do this. Then when you're done on my teacher screen, we can look at the stats. So we get immediate feedback again. These are things that we learned, which I think will be all of them. But typically if there are ones that students struggled with or lots of groups got wrong, it will show you those first. So you can go and talk about those common mistakes with your class, and then generally they want to play again. My ESL adults could really play this for our 2.5-hour class. They beg for this game. If you're not in a one-to-one environment, I have in my ESL class had 2 people per device. It's not perfect, but then when they put their name, they just put both of their names, and so then they work as a team on the one device. So it can work in a shared device environment as well. Questions about this? They did recently add an option that I forgot to turn on, but when you start a game, you can have it play the audio, and so when they click on the word, it will say it for them too. So once again, that's giving them some feedback, and I find that most of the time Quizlet's French pronunciation and English pronunciation is pretty accurate. It says ciao, like the word ciao, goodbye, ciao though. So I don't know what's up with that. That's the only one I've found that really isn't great. So once again, the teacher just needs to be connected to a projector. Works best in a one-to-one portable environment, and you do need at least 6 students to play. I have had my, I think it was French 3 last week. They played it, and I didn't let them get into groups, which upped the personal accountability. Because when you're in your groups, you can tell, no, it's not this one, it's this one. But when they're by themselves and they're separated from their team, it's really on them. And so if you need more of a challenge, that's something you can offer your students as well. So you just make sure you set your expectations for students' names. That eggplant emoji, I tell you, whew, it's bad. And then you select a live. So you just pull up any Quizlet set, and then you just select live. And then it will go from there. It'll pull you right through those steps. So they organize themselves. We start a game. They'll see the definition or picture, and the first team to 12 wins. Questions on Quizlet Live? Pretty straightforward. It's pretty awesome. It's a great way. We have a block schedule in Des Moines, and so those 90-minute blocks get really long. This is a great way to get them up and moving and get the blood flowing a little bit. All right, and then we'll go to the last major tool I'll talk to you about. So if you go back to the website and now click on Go Formative. Yep, so Heartland, TIC at the top, and Go Formative. This is one of those tools that I don't really remember how I heard about it, but it's been really great. So it's something that students can draw with. And so it's another great way to practice vocabulary, reading, and listening skills with having students draw their understanding instead of necessarily answering the questions in English or the target language. It's also, it's just really unique. The students really like drawing and coloring on the iPads. It does work best in a touch screen environment. You can still use it in a non-touch screen. It's just a little bit more clunky drawing with your mouse. But if you have iPads or touch screens, this can be a really great device. And so we'll do an ESL example. So once again, if you're on the website, just click on ESL example. And I have it set up so you don't have to log in. So when you get to this screen, well, for mine it's going to look a little different because I'm logged in. It will just have the purple log or continue without having an account. You can just click on there. With your students, you would want them to have an account if you want to give them feedback. So you'll put in your first and last name. You can put in a fake name if you like. And then you can just go ahead. This is once again an ESL example talking about clothing, and follow the directions that are on your screen. So this is a drawing one, so have fun on your laptops. And if the drawing ones aren't for you, you can scroll down towards the bottom. I think there are some more circling ones. There we go. And if you take a quick look on my screen, you'll see what you see on the teacher side. So I'm watching you guys draw right away. I'm not judging your artistic abilities, don't worry. So I am seeing right away if my students are understanding, in this case, clothing vocabulary. As you continue to play, you can scroll down. This also has multiple choice, short answer, questions available as well. I've also uploaded like coloring images for students and given them a description of a classroom, for example. And I've said things like the pen is blue, the watch is green, and the table is orange. And then they have to color in those objects to practice just basic vocabulary identification, but without having them translate into English. Oh man, Marissa's killing it up here. And you can zoom on it. So if I really want to show a really great example, I can do that. And then also on the teacher side, I can give them feedback. And so I can say, you know, great job, a black skirt and a red shirt. Okay, maybe we'll say that she's a 7. And then I can type specific feedback that the student, if they logged in, can see when they get on the next class or even right away. So the shirt is red, not black. Okay, and so then she, if, like I said, if she created an account, she would see that feedback and know right away what she would need to do. And if you want to take some time just to scroll down so you can see other sorts of questions that are asked, feel free to do that. Oh, nice. That is a very red shirt. I like that. If you look towards the bottom of this one, we were also looking at check writing skills. And so I uploaded a picture of a check and gave them a situation. You went to Walmart to buy a new cell phone. This is how much it cost, and they had to write on the check. Which, once again, may be a little bit better at a touch screen environment. This is something, I'll just pull up a French example as well, because this one's a little bit different to show you the coloring in I was telling you about. So this one was just classroom identification. So circle the map. All they would have to do is circle the map. Circle the window. Circle the chair. So these were in our SRG, more of the level 2, just basic identifying questions. And then getting a little bit more complex. So this is what I was saying. You can upload a picture to their Canvas, and so they would have to color this image according to the description. So this one says the piece of paper is blue, the watch is green, the pencil is yellow, and the table is orange. And then on their screen, they have to color that in to show that they know what the objects are and their colors. And then you can give them a blank canvas where they would have to draw this classroom. Okay, let's talk about the teacher side of Go Formative. First of all, their customer service team is really awesome. They have a chat option if you set up your teacher account. And I was having issues with like an iOS update with my iPads that I had, and they were really great. And they were texting back and forth. They even did a Google Hangout with me to help problem solve. So in my experience, they've been really great because they just started last year too, I think. So as a teacher, you would just create a teacher account and then click add a question. There are different types of questions you can add. You can add multiple choice, show your work, which is the one where they color or draw, short answer, or true false. The multiple choice and short true false ones, and even the short answer ones, you can have it automatically grade for you too, and I'll show you what that looks like. You can also just add content. So you can add in a YouTube video and ask questions about that. Or you could add in a picture and ask questions like, how much did the shoes cost? They do have an upload and transform option, which I have not used, so I don't know how that works. But essentially, you would take a quiz or an activity you already have ready and upload it to it so that you can make it interactive. When you are done, you can click at Preview, and then when you click on Live Results, this is what you'll see. So this was a French 2 example. I gave them a reading. And then I asked them questions. What are Chloe and her brother doing? What do Chloe and her brother do together at the park? And then the answer was riding bikes. And so I can see that this student right here didn't get it. She understood the word park, but she didn't understand our targeted vocabulary of riding bicycles. Then when you're done creating it, you can click Assign and assign it to students' classes. If you want students' progress to be saved, you have to make sure they make an account. And there you go for Formative. Any questions there? Okay, I'm just going to show you one more thing on my website. So if you go Heartland TIC, I saw some of you already perusing it. There's a thing of other tech tools. And this is just a list of things that I have used before. Some of them I have also presented on, and so they're more detailed directions. Educreations is a great one that I use for presentational speaking assessments. Quizlet, Quizlet Live, Edpuzzle, Kahoot, Quizzes. If you're familiar with Kahoot, Quizzes is similar, but the students see the answers on their screen, and they can work at their own pace. So it's not like they're just clicking the answers that they see their next door neighbor put, because it jumbles it up for them. So it's a really great tool, and then it shows them a meme in the target language afterwards, and the kids just think that's hilarious. And so that's very similar to Kahoot, but you can also assign that one as homework. So I use that a lot. If students finish this activity, I have a quizzes waiting for them to work on as they wait for their classmates to finish up. Formative is one we showed. I've used Instagram videos as exit tickets. Twitter is a great way for them to get access to authentic materials. Nearpod is fabulous, but their free version you only get so much storage, and it's kind of pricey, but I have been known to create multiple accounts for Nearpod so that I can use it. Essentially, you upload a PowerPoint and add questions and different things into it. Prezi, 10 marks is for math. Talkboard can be great, and then some teacher tools as well. So feel free to peruse that at your own leisure. So I think I have about 10 minutes left. I was hoping that would be time for you to play around with any of those tools that we looked at, one that you thought would be best, unless we need to go on to the next presenter. We're good? Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'll give you about 10 minutes to ask me questions, to kind of play with those different things. Maybe, hopefully, you could have time to create a Go Formative, find an Ed puzzle, or get some time to apply these right away. So if you have a question, let me know. I'll be around. All right, I believe that it is time for our next presenter. So any lingering questions? Hello. Okay, well, feel free to send me an email. My contact information is on the agenda from today, as well as at the bottom of my website. That's my email, or Twitter, or whatever works best for you. But I really appreciate you guys playing along, and if you have questions, please don't hesitate to let me know sometime. Thank you so much.